Good afternoon, I'm Sean Lennon, and you're watching WVNN News. It's Thursday, January 16th, 2014, and last Thursday, right here in Virginia on January 9th, 10,000 gallons of crude, MCHM, spilled from a storage tank into the Elk River. The Elk River is a municipal water source which serves about 300,000 people in the Charleston area. The chemical that was spilled is known as 4-methylcloxymethanol, or more commonly known as MCHM. On Tuesday, January 14th, the company had revealed that the tank, which leaked about 10,000 gallons into the ground by the Elk River, had also contained a mixture of glycol, which had a similar function as MCHM. The chemical spill was the third chemical accident to occur in the Kanawha River Valley within the last 5 years. Also, the Elk River spill affected 9 different counties in the area. In this map, you can see the Elk River, all the surrounding counties that were affected by the spill. The dot in the middle shows you where the Charleston is, where it occurred, and where the spill is located. The residents were also banned from using their tap water for anything but flushing their toilets. Also, most services, including schools, restaurants, and businesses, shut down. Unfortunately, not much is known about this chemical. The company who owned the storage tanks, Freedom Industries, has been under attack from the government and various small industries that were forced to shut down due to the lack of water. Next up, we will go live on a Skype call where environmentalist Margot Spiegelman will talk to us about the environmental effects plus the health issues among residents caused by this chemical. Thank you.
4-methylcyclohexanolmethanol, MCHM, is a clear colorless liquid which is reported to smell like licorice. It is used in the coal industry in the separation of usable coal from rocks and debris. And it is used in a process called froth flotation, so it is frothed up on the banks of the Elk River and is unlikely to evaporate quickly. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have said the chemical is safe at low levels of less than 1 part per million unless pregnant. Symptoms of MCHM may include nausea, vomiting, dizziness, headaches, diarrhea, reddened skin, itching, and rashes. There's a possibility that there are more serious symptoms like cancer. However, due to the general lack of knowledge of MCHM, safety officials are unsure of what the possible long-term effects on humans may be. Charleston residents still seem unsure of the information they are being provided by the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, and local authorities. More than 169 people were affected, 14 were hospitalized, and none were said to be in serious condition. The possible effects of this chemical on the environment are even less researched. The effects on the environment are completely unknown. However, there have been a couple tests on rodents and other model organisms and have found that the chemical was poisonous at levels of 200 to 800 parts per million. Unfortunately, this information is still very limited because there is still no data on repeated doses and other variables. Therefore, there's also a possibility that many animals will or have already been affected.
And how might we avoid other chemical spills from happening in the future?
Well, for one, the vessels holding large quantities of toxic chemicals should undergo yearly inspection to make sure there are no cracks. There should also be an age limit to these large containers because the vats holding the spilled MCHM were considered really old. And there was visible cracks in the concrete surrounding and protecting the vessel. I also believe that these toxic chemicals should not have been stored near a water source. If the chemicals had been stored on higher ground, the chemicals would have had less severe effects on the state of West Virginia and possibly on the environment.
Thank you for those very interesting facts and opinions about the impact on the environment from the chemical spill in the Elk River, Margot. I appreciate the call. Margot Spiegelman has a PhD in environmental studies, so when it comes to anything about the impact on the environment, she's an expert. Thank you very much, Margot. Now we will go live to Charleston, where WVNN's own Daphne Greengrass will be diving deeper into the story. Hi, Daphne. How's it going?
I'm very good. Thank you, Sean. Hello everyone, I'm Daphne Greengrass, live here in the Charleston area. There's been a lot of backlash from the community here against Freedom Industries, the company who owned the steel storage container. Freedom Industries is facing numerous lawsuits and probes related to the incident. The company has since filed for bankruptcy and the case is still ongoing. While Freedom Industries has received backlash in relation to the incident, the public has shown some criticism in the role of the government. And a survey carried out by BMC Public Health found the majority of residents think that the government should have tighter regulations in regards to environmental effects of chemicals. Residents have also told the New York Times that they are feeling worried about what is going on. The biggest point of worry, according to the mayor and several residents, is that nobody in a position of authority has said said when the water will be drinkable and things can go back to normal. Another concern is whether or not the chemical regulations and enforcement in the U.S. is sufficient. MCHM is one of over 84,000 chemicals that does not require testing. The chemical laws right now are 37 years old and are viewed by some as ineffective. Currently, the government only requires testing for 200 chemicals and has banned an additional 5 that they deem dangerous. As unfortunate as this bill was, it brought to light gaps in chemical regulations that could now be changed for the better. I'm Daphne Greengrass from WVNN. Thank you, and back to you, Sean.
Thank you so much, Daphne. That was very interesting and informative. And I think that's a wrap, folks. Yes, we are out of time. Thank you very much to our executive producer and writer, Eleni Vietsky, our director and writer, Wolf Virgo, our editor and writer, Alex Blake, and of course, a very special thank to our wonderful camera crew. We could not do this without you. I'm Sean Lennon, and you're watching Virginia at 5 on the West Virginia News Network. Have a great night, everyone.